So I wanted to go over the two main pieces of capture software for the Nistro capture system. And currently the two that I am most aware of are CC3DS FS and Nistro Preview. Now, Nistro Preview, I actually don't know who made this. Whether Pippin got it commissioned or a friend made it, I'm not entirely sure. I get the impression Pippin didn't make it, but it exists and it linked to Pippin's project. So whoever made it, I don't know, but it could have been the person who archived this program. I get the impression it wasn't. It doesn't necessarily matter at this point. It stopped being developed back in 2010 after Pippin kind of vanished from the internet and since left this project to his blog, which Katsukitty ended up picking up and releasing this capture system. So we'll start there first. I think that's the most sensible place to start. So it unzips to two different exe files. There's the normal preview DirectX 9, and then there's the version with FFmpeg. I used a program called Resource Hacker to just convert all the text to English because this is strictly Japanese, which holding up a phone and trying to run Google Lens or Google Translate to try and figure out what you're clicking on is a little annoying. So considering the version with FFmpeg has a little more, has like one or two more features, I'll start with that. I'll bring that over. When you open it up, you just get this bare bone program. So go ahead and start it. Oh. Okay, I figured it out. So what happened was my overhead camera was actually conflicting with the capture card and the capture software, interestingly enough. I don't know if those two drivers are, well, the driver and the port must have just been conflicting with each other, so I swapped ports and seems to be working now. So anyway, we'll start with the Nistro Preview, the most current software that I have up. Try this again. So, currently at 1x, currently shows the menu pretty good. Now, for features of this particular software, under menu, you can take a screenshot, you can do a recording. The only thing that I found with this recording is this does not take audio manually from the actual capture card. I haven't, maybe it does. According to Pippin's pinout, he was able to find a pinout for SPDIF audio. But as far as the audio coming out of the capture card, I haven't been able to determine why it's not. So just in the meantime, I've just been using a 3.5mm out of the headphone jack, and I think that works plenty fine. So if you were to use the in-app recorder, you'd have to feed it with your audio from your device, which would be this one for me. But yeah, from what I can tell, it records a plenty fine video. I haven't had need for use it. I just use the capture and just have this as a capture device on OBS. I think that works. It's a little more something I can control and do in real time. Screenshot, I figure it just takes a screenshot. Now, one of the things I wasn't able to figure out were these test filters. I don't know if they were actually implemented, but let's get a game open and I can at least try it. Both of these softwares I haven't probed through completely, so a lot of it will just be me trying out for the first time. And that menu there was me loading up an R4 card. I could play New Super Mario Brothers. So what I'll do is go into settings. I want to make this a little bigger. So under magnification, you have the ability to make it 1x, 2x, and 3x. 3x will be a little too big for my 1080p screen. Go back to just 2x. Now let's kind of probe through these filters. Ah, okay. It is doing something. Neat, I'm just gonna keep it at none. I know the last time I tried the filters, they didn't do anything noticeable. So now, I've already kind of peeked in here, but we'll come in here again. We have rotate, This will do kind of exactly what you expect. Rotate the camera feeds. This can be kind of nice if you wanted to put your monitor in the vertical. Or you can just have Windows put your monitor in the vertical. Magnification, like I already did. Screen selection, which will only display one or the other screen. It won't display them like as individual windows. It's just either one or the other or both. Update speed determines FPS. Default 60. I don't necessarily see why you would ever want to go lower than that. Unless you wanted to specifically capture certain software lower speeds. Screen gap does what you would expect. Adds a gap. Kind of nice if you just want a good solid separator between the top and the bottom screen. A little big, but does the job. Always on top, I actually don't know what that does. And do not display error frames will skip any of that like jittering that we saw when I first opened it. Obviously that was a driver related issue, and I don't expect to see any error frames through here. There might be some, but at least as far as I've noticed, pretty much don't see any. In the config, pretty much the same settings. There is sort of a sliding bar for these if you wanted to go into more finer details. If you wanted a screen gap that wasn't so ghastly, you just could do a little one. And then information should just have... Ooh, it even recorded one error frame. I didn't even notice it, so... Doesn't happen that very often. At least not that I've noticed. I haven't done many long play sessions on this program in particular, but that is pretty much it for the Nistro preview. Good enough, bare bones. Does the job. It's really hard to complain with it. So the next one is CC3DS FS, which is a GitHub project that someone has been actively maintaining. So this one is mostly, from what I can understand, is sort of like a universal DS capture software, which works with the original DS all the way through the 3DSs of various different capture cards. I don't know how exactly long ago it was that the implementation of Nistro capture for the original DS and DSi was implemented, but it was brought to my attention that this project was going on and Nistro was supported. So the program will come up in this. It'll come up in 2 windows. You really don't need the command terminal. You can just have the normal window. Right click, you'll have several different options, far more than what you're used to seeing, at least from the original Nistro preview software. Disconnect will obviously disconnect the capture card from the program. You can reconnect it, of course. Full screen mode will put the program in full screen. It'll do it on my main monitor, but what it will do is sort of throw it in like a 3DS configuration where it is big top screen, small bottom screen. There is one of my favorite features, split screen. Throws it on my main monitor, but it kind of does what you expect it to do. It'll split the bottom and top screens, which will give you a lot more flexibility in what you want to do, how you want to capture this. I'll join the screens back for now. Then video settings. Crop settings. So this won't be very wholly relevant unless you run GBA games, it would appear. But since we're running a DS, we're not going to have to crop it to DS. Scale factor increases the size. Increase just a little. Menu scaling will make the menu bigger. 3D settings, 3DS doesn't do anything. Screen placement, if you wanted to have the screens oriented. Separator settings does that screen gap. And I do not want a screen gap. VSync, async, just in case you're having problems. I figure that I haven't run into any real issues once I kind of nailed down my driver issues. Not sure what blur is. Screen offset. Doesn't look like it does anything that I'm at least aware of or familiar with. Rotation settings. Interesting. Input colors, also very interesting. Screen par, looks like just various. Interesting, I'll keep it 1-to-1. Audio settings, I know I've spoken with the creator and they've currently not have figured this out as well. They made this program, so they're far more ahead of me as far as what I understand. Input settings, I haven't actually tried that. If I can actually plug in a controller for this, be kind of neat. You can save your custom profile and load it. Status, the GitHub link. Extra settings, now USB conflict resolution, that will be specifically relevant to the Nistro capture because we have the FX boards. So disabling the old 3DS optimized boards just in case there's any issues. I haven't run into any issues. This program kind of worked right out the gate once I got it compiled. But that is pretty much both of the softwares. I can go ahead and play a little. I'm guessing those block guys jump. Oh my goodness, yes they do. Ooh. Oh. Well, I'm not very good at this game. Anyway, those are the two capture softwares that I'm at least aware of. They both do their job at capturing DSI, at least Nistro capture devices. There are going to be a new string of DSI and DSI XL capture systems coming out, currently in prototype. So I'm very excited to see those. I'm guessing the creator of CC 3DS FS will be implementing that into their software, as well as 3DS Capture will be working for that as well, since I assume they use the same boards, more or less, just a little configured for DSIs. That will be something we'll see in the future.